Okay, so this is going to probably take us a while, but this one is entitled 10 Things You Need to Know After a Lupus Diagnosis. I have lupus, now what? Is kind of the title or the subtitle. I'll figure that out later. So I'm going to go through the numbers and then talk about them. I'll give you the numbers first and then I'll go back and talk about them. So the first thing in the 10 things is an informed patient is an alive patient. That's number one. Number two is you won't feel like you used to. Number three, set up a support system. Number four, you can't do what you used to do. Number five, be prepared for disappointments. Number six, people will not understand. Number seven, depression and anxiety are real. Number eight, the doctors have no plan for your remission. Number nine, you have to adjust to a new normal. And number 10, life is not over. So now that you have those sections, I'm going to go. Now this won't be in order, but this is the order that I wrote them in, right? And so you'll have to match them up to the section that I just gave you. Excuse me. So, mine on my list is you won't feel like you used to. Um, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go in the order that I gave you because I obviously put them like that for a reason so that I could better understand them. So, number one, an informed patient is an alive patient. What I found out is that the more that I knew, the more that I could be successful. And people weren't going to necessarily tell me what I did not know. They would give me the basics, and then they would ask me if I had any questions. This really happened to me a lot. In the beginning, as I started dialysis, I was afraid, I was uninformed, and I knew not what I was getting myself into. As I started in my lupus progression, I also did not understand or know what I was getting myself into. I did not know how the disease was going to progress. I didn't know if other things would happen as a result of my diagnosis and me having this disease. I really didn't know anything. But I knew that I was a smart enough kid that I could figure it out. And I always had a love for information and for knowledge. What really helped me was that I spent the last 23 years serving and working in corporate America in pharmaceutical companies in clinical research and development. And the last years that I spent in corporate were on the clinical scientific side. So I understood a lot about medicines, drugs, and vaccines. That's what really helped me. And I knew that just being a black girl growing up in America, that knowledge is power. I had a love and a thirst for knowledge, and that really empowered me. So being an informed patient is what kept me alive because people couldn't just pull the wool over my eyes. Doctors couldn't just tell me what they thought that I would know or what they thought would shut me up or what they thought would make me feel better. So I began very early on to arm myself with information once I really got a revelation of this is what it was going to be. I had to first embrace my situation. You know, when you are first diagnosed, and I want to put that as an intro. So stop right here and then type this out as an intro. And then I will fill in what needs to be filled in. So when you're first diagnosed, you're taken aback. I was diagnosed at 36 years old. I was a mother of two. Put a note in here for me to put my lupus story. It's already typed out. Now, go back to this. I was a mother of 2 children who were still school age, who still needed me. I was on the heels of post-divorce, on readjusting my life, and this happened and the bottom of my life fell out. I presumed in my head somehow that this would be fixed, that I would be fixed, that I would do a few things. Okay, I had a situation. It was pretty bad. I could face that. But I would do a few things and things would get back to being like they used to. And they didn't go back to being like they used to. And maybe that'll be, maybe I'll switch these numbers around. But it was the shock of my life. And a lot of adjustments had to be made. But a lot of things couldn't happen because at first, honestly, I was living in anxiety and fear before even depression. I was scared. I thought that I would die secretly. And I was afraid. I was afraid of being out of control. I was afraid of not having control. I was afraid of not living the life that I used to, being the woman that I used to, being the mother that I used to. It was crazy. And being that I started dialysis and chemotherapy at the same time, it was really, really a roller coaster. My mind, my body, my emotions. I really didn't know if I was going to make it. I was terrified. But like I said, what really saved me was being an informed patient. So that's where I'm going to start. Being an informed patient is a live patient. Now go back to where we were, which I don't even remember. We can stop there. So let's go to number 2, which is you won't feel like you used to. I'm just taking a sip. Hold on. I'm still here. This is kind of crazy, I know, for whoever's typing this, but I hope I made you laugh. Anyway, you won't feel like you used to. So when you're first diagnosed, a lot of people tell me, a lot of women, I deal with a lot of women, and they tell me, I just wish that I could do the things that I used to do, or I just want to feel the way I used to feel. Well, the thing that nobody tells you is you're not going to feel like you used to feel. And I know you want to, but you have to understand that a major, if you're dealing with chronic illness, right, has hit your body. Like lupus is not, you wake up with a headache, you take 2 Tylenol and you feel better. It is a major disease. It is dangerous. As we know, they say there is no cure and it can cause death. It can be pretty serious. I've never, even in all of my holistic health and wellness and believe in remission, I've never disputed the seriousness of the disease. It can be very serious. I was walking around for years with this disease in my body and did not understand the implications. So I know how serious it is. You're not going to feel like you used to. You're going to be tired, very tired. It causes a lot of fatigue. You're going to be sluggish, especially if your immune system is under attack and your body is not able to fight off things that it is usually able to fight off. So you're not going to feel like it. As the disease progresses, you might have muscle stiffness or joint stiffness or soreness or, even pain. So the important thing to know is you won't feel like you used to. But that still doesn't mean that you can't feel good. You can't feel better. It's an up and down thing. They call lupus a mysterious disease because you never know, what it's going to do or where it's going to attack you. So I think the important thing to be conscious of is just knowing that you're not going to feel like you used to and accepting that. See, nobody ever talked to me about these things. I didn't have a Malika in my life. I didn't have a wellness coach or consultant in my life. I didn't have even a great doctor or a support system. I had no one, and now that I think about it, I could have probably had Google, but I wasn't even thinking about that. I wasn't even thinking about, doing a lot of research at that time. I was just trying to live day to day to just kind of embrace what having the illness and having the disease. And that for me took a long time. So I wanted to just let you know that you're not going to feel like you used to. The next thing that I think is really important, which is number 3, is setting up a support system. You see, I had a family. At the time when I was diagnosed, I lived in the town with my family who have been there most of their lives. And over the years, the family kind of split up and just didn't have the same dynamic that it had while I was growing up. And so, although I had a support system, I really didn't. Although I had people that were present, they were really absent because they were going about their business and living their lives. And really, I was not a priority. And that was very difficult for me. So I would suggest that early on, you set up a support system. Now, your support system may not consist of family. Maybe you don't have one. It might consist of a few good friends. It might consist of a support group. It might consist of a very good care team. It might consist of your church community, your mosque, your synagogue, your farm, your home, wherever you are. Wherever and whoever those people are for you, then that's who you set up. See, I thought that my family had to be my support system. And, a couple of those other things, maybe I tried or didn't try and they worked for me, or maybe they didn't work for me. I can't really remember at the time. But I know that I was looking really to my family to be a support system for me. And when that didn't happen, I was, rather disappointed. Even still today, it hurts. But I have learned through an illness who will be with you and who will not be with you. And I have also learned that God will send people along the way to assist you on your journey. Whoever you need, He will give you. Now, I'm saying God because you guys know I'm a woman of faith. So I'm not, if you're not and you don't believe, that's okay. I'm not on here trying to convince you of something you already don't believe. I'm just sharing with you my personal experience. And I believe that God, the Most High God, will send you who you need along the way. So setting up a support system is going to be very good. Even setting up a good doctoral care system. Making sure that you have the right care in place, the right doctors in place. That's something I totally bombed at, totally failed at. I never had a good system, support system, as far as it related to my doctor or my medical team. I had a few here and there, but never a good team. I didn't have a dream team. So set up your support system as far as your medical people that you're going to have in your life also. Your medical system, your friends, your family. If you want to go to a support group, if you think that will help you. And also, we have a support group that we do once a month for Black women living with lupus. And we also do it for our Lupus Life Club. We do that together as a community the last Thursday and Friday of every month. So if you're interested in that, you can go to our website at Lupus Life Club and find out about that as well. So setting up a good support system, which leads me to number 4. I think this is number 4. Don't worry about the numbers. I could always, change it around as long as we get the information. But number 4, is you can't do what you used to do. Well, I want to kind of change that. And after setting up a good support system, I want to say be prepared for disappointments. No, I'm sorry. I want to go back. Number 4 is going to be you can't do what you used to do. Okay, which is similar to you won't feel like you used to, right? You're not going to be able to do the things you used to do. That's something that was very hard for me. I'm very independent. I always have been. I don't like relying on people to do anything for me. And I remember when I first got diagnosed, I didn't have a car. I had just lost my car. And that was really difficult for me, to lean on people to take me to appointments, to do things for me. I still tried to do everything myself. With taking chemo, going to dialysis, I tried to cook for myself, take care of myself, do all the housework, still be a mother to my kids, and I failed horribly. And I remember some months later, which was so crazy, I ended up relocating to a total nother state. Now, I totally didn't have a support system while I was in New Jersey. I moved from New Jersey to North Carolina. Now I know no one. It's me and my children, and I'm in really a bad state. I was really, really ill, but I was still trying to do everything myself. And even as the years went on and I began to get better, I still tried to do everything for myself. Even today, well, I've let it go now, but I was running up to 16 businesses, being everything: the ad administrator, the social media person, the marketing person, the founder, the director, just doing everything. Just because I'm multi-gifted and that is my skill set, that's one. But just because I'm independent, that's really the bulk of it. So a lot of people, again, will come to me and say, I just wish I could do the things I used to do and yada, yada, yada. Well, again, you're not going to be able to do what you used to do because, hey, you're stuck with this major illness, right? You got a major disease. It's taking a toll on your life. And now you're trying to adjust to a new normal, to find yourself, to live with this disease, to survive with it, to even have a life with it, to thrive with it. Healing, as I always say, is a journey. It is not a destination. We don't go poof and we're there. It takes time to arrive, to walk through life, to go through something that is so difficult on many levels and complexities, some more difficult than others. So you're not going to be able to do what you used to do. I used to run 5 miles a day. I can't do that anymore. I miss that so much. I used to be able to walk around the whole mall. Even in my remission, I still can't do that. I used to be able to walk up I have 17 steps. I used to be able to walk up steps without any difficulty. Well, it takes me a little while now, and especially if I'm coming through dialysis, my body is wiped out, my bones are hurting, and although I'm doing all of the right things, and I am walking in lupus remission, and I am eating the right things and challenging my body with the proper exercise, nutrients, minerals, supplements, vitamins, all of those things, it's sometimes difficult for me to do the things that I used to do. But I think even more difficult than doing the things that I used to do is just the fact that I had to embrace that I can no longer do them. I had to learn to accept my limitations, to know that I'm not the woman I used to be, but I am a brand new version of the woman that I used to be. So I want you to think about it in terms of that and not just look at your physical limitations, what you can't do, but look at how you can leverage, right? Because this is what illness will teach you, how to leverage your limitations. Wow, that's really powerful. Leveraging your limitations. Write that out for me. I might use that as a subtitle, or I might use that in another book. So you need to leverage your limitations so that you can meet your expectations. And we're going to end on that, which was 4, right? Number 5, this is going to go under be prepared for disappointments. As I told you and I mentioned before, not having a support system led me to a lot of disappointments. And I think that's something we don't talk about as a person with chronic illness, as our life changes, and it sometimes elevates and it sometimes de-elevates, is that there will be disappointments. And you need to know that right off the bat, right? So if you're expecting that there won't be, there will be. There'll be ups and downs with your body, ups and downs with your life, ups and downs with your mental health and stability, ups and downs in the way you do things, the way you adjust, ups and downs in your caretakers, with your family, with your friends. There will be disappointments, and sometimes you will be disappointed because people don't necessarily understand your plight, and that's going to frustrate you to no end. Now, I'm telling you the truth. This is what people will not tell you, right? It's going to frustrate you to no end sometimes, because that's why it's important to find communities, and we have lots of them, that you can partner with people that are like you, that understand what you're going through, but not just people that who are going to wallow. That's one thing that I don't do. I don't build communities that just wallow in self-pity and wallow in sickness and wallow in all of the gripes and the pains and the whatever. Yes, we want you to talk about them, and yes, we want you to vent about them because they are important. But I also want you to know that there's victory on the other side of that. You know, that you are winning, that you're not literally losing, and that, how shall I say, that, that you can be, how do I say it? That you can be victorious in this plight of illness. That you don't have to, if you take the ill away, it can become wellness. So being prepared for, I think, the disappointments will help you along the way. Knowing that they are coming, they will come. People, places, things. Because you might be disappointed. Let me give you an example. Like, I didn't know how disappointed I would be that I could no longer travel out of the country. I wasn't thinking about that at the beginning of my diagnosis, that when they first told me I was going on kidney dialysis, I thought for sure I'm going to get a kidney. Well, now it's almost 6 years later. I haven't gotten a kidney and can't even be placed on the transplant list. So in order for me to travel outside of the country, yes, I can travel and go outside of the country and still have dialysis, but I'd have to pay for that myself. And that gets very expensive. So I was disappointed about that. Right? Okay. I was disappointed that my health never returned back to 100%. So I can't run all of those businesses anymore. I can't do all the things that I used to do. You know, that was a disappointment for me. It was a disappointment understanding that people didn't understand my understanding. You know, that was disappointing for me. I thought for sure that people would be there, and even some pity, you know, that they would baby me and they would feel sorry for me, that people would, you know, actually feel sorry for me. Or if they didn't feel sorry for me, not that I wanted them to feel sorry for me, they would have some empathy and some compassion for my life. And when they didn't, I was damn sure disappointed. So be prepared for disappointments. Okay, that's 5. Number 6, which goes right into that, is people will not understand. I'm telling you that right now. And you can't, I think the hardest thing for us as the people with the illness and for the people that don't have the illness is that they don't understand. And you cannot assume that people understand what you are going through. So what I have done that has really helped me, and I want to share it with you, is I've taken it upon myself to educate people about my story. Not making them assume, and not assuming that they know about it, but me educating them on the parts that I need them to know and to understand. Not letting anybody else dictate and tell my story, but me telling my story by telling them, yes, I don't feel good. Yes, this hurts. Or yes, it looks like this. Or yes, I'm going through that. But by me telling my story, that way it's not in the hands of anybody. But what I had to learn, and the hard way, was that people did not understand. I didn't even understand. Before I got on kidney dialysis, I didn't really know what dialysis was, although I had members of my families who had been on dialysis for years. I didn't really understand what pulmonary hypertension was. I didn't really understand what lupus was. I knew one other person who was my ex-husband's sister, who sadly passed away from the disease in 2013. She passed away with lupus, which was really another spark to get the spark in my fire with me working with these passion projects. Rest in peace, Tanya Lyles. Make sure you put that. I just want to say that she was a big influence in my lupus journey. And that was the only other person that I knew, with lupus. And right when she was almost passing away, like a few months, a year before, that's when we really, started to talk about it. And I believe she really opened up to me. I believe if she would have been here, she would have really opened up to me about it. And I would have been even able to help her on her lupus journey through health and wellness. So I just wanted to say that, but people are not going to understand, and it's going to frustrate you and make you mad and sometimes piss you off that they don't understand and that they just treat you like you should be normal or you should be doing the things that you used to do. And because lupus, remember, it's not an external illness. It can be because you can have the rashes and different things like that, but most of it is internal. It's affecting you internally some way. And if it's affecting your internal organs, then that's even, worse. But because people can't see it, when they can't see an external illness, like you may or may not be, in a wheelchair or something outwardly that they can see, then they tend to downplay it. And I didn't let people take away my pain or my need to have pain. Right? By downplaying it, by disregarding what I was going through. So that's something, you want to think about. You educate people as to what you want them to know. And some people won't understand, but you got to know that there are some people out there that will understand. Again, the importance of linking up with the community. Even if you're just learning about it, linking up with people who do understand what you are going through. And these things that I'm talking about today are very important. There are 10 things that I wish somebody would have talked to me about after my lupus diagnosis. Because it is like the title says, I've got lupus, now what? Like, what do you want me to do? Where should I go from here? What is going to happen? These are the questions that we need to be asking our medical providers. Why do I need these medicines? What are they for? That's a whole nother book. And I have lots of materials out there that you can find out. And if you want to do something one-on-one, you want me to talk to you, then the best thing probably for you to do would be and I think it's a great investment, and I wish it was available when I got diagnosed, is to sign up for one of my wellness consults where I can talk to you one-on-one. I can hear specifically what's going on for you. And then I can guide you in either one of our 3-month, which is our Jumpstart to Remission, or our 6-month, which is our Road to Remission recovery action plans. I like to call them action plans because they are action plans and you're going to have to do the work. But remember, knowledge is power. And if you are reading this book, and you are just newly diagnosed, this is a great time for you to get involved. Not waiting years later to find out what to do, but attacking this head on so that you can know what to do and you can properly arm yourself for what is to come. So now I think we are on number 9, which is adjusting to a new normal. That is so very important. Because your life is not what it used to be. Like I talked about, you can't do the things that you used to. And a lot of people tell me, and I included myself, was one that I thought that if I could just get myself back to a level of what used to be, that somehow in my mind, I thought I was going to go back to what used to be. Right? I was going to get there. I was going to get back to doing what I used to, back to feeling how I used to feel, all of those things. And that really hindered me, because what I had to realize, and what you need to realize, is that you have to adjust to a new normal. And a new normal is not a one size fits all. And a new normal is not something that comes in one size. It is many different sizes, many different layers, many different complexities along the way. See, I thought that a big boom was going to happen. Like I'd have one thing one way and boom, that would be my new normal. But not understanding that this these diseases and conditions have different legs and different layers. And for every different leg and every different layer, I was going to have to adjust, right? So my abnormal, what was abnormal for everyone else, had to become normal for me, right? And that's kind of where I am in my process. And a lot of you will get to in your process. But if you know from the door that what will really help you is embracing. That doesn't mean you settle for it. That doesn't mean you're happy for the disease. But you have to, through your own process and through your own time, come to a period of accepting it. Accepting it. Just simply accepting it. And releasing and letting go. And then you have to get to where you are adapting your life to where you are, not where you were, and not where you want to be, but making adjustments and having a new normal like that. Releasing is such a large part of all of this, because I think I was a control freak. I think I had issues with control because there were so many. Now, not the kind of control that's like, oh, I want to boss you around and tell you what to do and all of that. The kind of control that I needed to know that things were going to, do what I thought that they were going to do. Control in terms of I need a plan because I cannot have a contingency plan. The kind of control that comes from a lot of people whose lives are out of control. Because I had so many out of control things in my life, I had become so independent on myself, relying on myself because I didn't have anyone else to rely on. So that was a form of, control for me. And a big part of being diagnosed with this disease is that I had to learn that it truly was out of my control. That there was nothing that I could do about it, not even to make myself better, right? I couldn't blink my eyes and unblink them, and now I don't have lupus and kidney failure. I could not click my heels together 3 times like Dorothy and wish that I was in Kansas and, and be in Kansas. Like, it wasn't that type of party. So I had to learn to lean on a power greater than myself, which was God. That's where my faith came in for me, that in all of this anchored me. My faith is something that anchored me. Not that things were magically better, because faith is not magic. God is not magic. And to me, he's not a Santa Claus, right? But my faith anchored me. When times got rough, when the winds blew and the storms came, and they came with a vengeance. And many times I could have been out of here, but I believe that God had a greater purpose for me, which is why you are reading this today, because he had a purpose for my life and he has a purpose for your life, and they are connected. And that's why I'm sitting here speaking to you today, because this is some information that I needed and that was not available to me. That's one of the things that I first noticed when I was diagnosed, is I looked all around. I did Google, now I remember, and I did go on YouTube and I did look, but there was nothing for me per se as a woman of color, a melanated being, a girl with a chocolate life. There was nothing that talked about Black women living with lupus. And when I became educated about it, I thought that that was odd, since we were the greatest sufferers and population of this new epidemic. I wondered why there was nothing specifically for women of color. So I vowed to change that. And I thank God that we have changed that today with our community, Black women living with lupus, with our podcast, My Chocolate Lupus Life. Again, Black women living with lupus. And I'm so excited even about the books and the materials that we have specifically for that. But I know that I'm not just called to Black women living with lupus. I'm called to human beings that live with lupus, chronic illness, and just sufferers. I know that I am a holistic healer. Whole, WHOLE. And now I understand it more and more and more as my journey and my path is unfolding. So, although some people may look at my situation as a condition, I no longer see it as a condition. I now see it as a position. This is a position that God has given me to help to heal humanity. And I'm so honored and I'm so humbled that you would allow me to speak this into your life and to share this little bit of information with you, which brings me to number 10, which is life is not over. Life is not over with lupus. Lupus, even though it does not have a cure, or any chronic illness for that matter, they may have even given you a death sentence, but it's not a death sentence. You know how I look at it now? I'm going to be honest with you. And there's nobody here right now. I'm just sitting on my couch, but I feel the Spirit of God so heavily on me. You know how I look at it? It's life with lupus. Life with lupus to me. And that's why I started this Lupus Life Club, because it's about having life, and it's about having life more abundantly. And even through my illness and even through my sickness, I'm living. God has shown me how to live again. And you know what? I wouldn't trade it. I would not trade my journey, because it's mine alone. It's my cross to bear. It's my cup to drink. And I'm going to do it with honor and with dignity, with pride, with all that is in me until the day that I transition from here. It's life. It's my life. It's your life. It's, as I say, lupus life. And I want to just let you know that there is life with lupus, that there is life after any disease, that you can not only survive, but you can thrive. You can go on and you can do great exploits for God and for His name's sake. For whatever He has purposed you to do, you are here for a reason. And your illness is a part of you, but it is not you. It is not everything that you are. It is not everything that you will be. And I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that you were diagnosed with whatever you were diagnosed. I'm sorry for me. I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry that we have to go through the things that we have to go through every single day. But I know, and I am a living, breathing testament that life can go on, that you can go on and do great and amazing and wonderful things. So I just want to encourage you as I end this 10 things we talked about that you need to know after a lupus diagnosis, that even in all of these things, I want you to start thinking about not your limitations, but expectations, okay? I want you to start thinking healthy thoughts and positive thoughts, and telling yourself and speaking to yourself every day, telling yourself that you love yourself and that you're going to overcome this, and that you're going to do everything. You're still going to do everything that you were purposed to do. Think about how you can use this experience of what has happened to you, what your diagnosis, to heal others. Maybe like I did. Maybe you'll start a video chat, or maybe you'll start a blog. Maybe you'll start a support group, or maybe something great will come out of your experience. I can tell you firsthand, when I first was diagnosed, I was not nearly thinking about doing what I'm doing today. I didn't want to be the face of any disease. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do anything with Black women with lupus. I wasn't thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about lupus. I wasn't thinking about being on dialysis. In my mind, I was thinking that this, whatever I was going through, was going to be over very soon. But it hasn't been over very soon. Since my diagnosis, it's been a long time. So as I have adjusted to my new normal, God has given me purpose, even in my pain. If I had stayed in my pain and in my discouragement, because I was discouraged and I didn't have anybody to encourage me, I had to encourage myself. But what I will tell you is that such a purpose, a wonderful purpose, has come out of this. Now, do I want to, be having these illnesses? No, I don't. My life would be a lot simpler and a lot easier if I didn't. Right now, I'd probably be on a beach. And matter of fact, it is my cousin's wedding this week, and she is getting married in, I believe it's Cancun, Mexico. But I'd be there. So anyway, I'm going to end these 10 things. I believe that awareness is key, and that this is another way, even with talking to you about this, that we can continue our lupus awareness, and we can continue helping people by our lives, by showing them by example what this is about, as we, I don't want to say wait on a cure, because we're not waiting on the cure. We are the cure. I just want to encourage you again. I just want to say I love you. I want to say I'm here to support you. And if you need any other information, you can find us at lupuslifeclub.com. You can go on my YouTube page. You can find me, Malika L. Anderson, on any of the social media platforms. You can find me on Instagram, on Facebook. Now put a note right here to put my information for that. Okay, I love you. Be whole. I sign everything, be whole. So if you are the one that's doing all of my other books, make sure you sign everything, be whole, Malika.